to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings. Lord, it be your will. We ask that you to bless our staff here in Swain County Schools and strengthen, and we will continue to seek your wisdom, courage, and strength through these times. Lord, please help us to be wise in the decisions we make here tonight. Please help us to make the decisions that are for the good of all involved. Dear Lord, let us always seek your will in all that we do and say. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. The first thing is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? We have some additions, I believe.
We need to change a few things around, Mr. McKinney, before we approve that. The track team is here this evening, and we would like to honor them. Mr. Smith, would you go grab the track team and have them come in?
All right.
And let's put them first on the agenda. And then after that, it might be a good idea if we go ahead and go into closed session and take care of that.
Okay.
All right?
All right. I'll turn that over to you.
Come on up here, ladies and gentlemen. Spread yourselves out.
Up here.
Up here in front. Yeah.
You're good.
You can face either way. Why don't you face the board?
It's theater of the round.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, scoot back.
So our goal this evening is to congratulate you on an amazing season and to present you with really a small token of our appreciation. The board wanted to take some time and to say how proud they are of your accomplishment, especially this year in such a, we keep using the word unprecedented, but really it is. Your season was incredibly long, and for you to continue on even after the school year was over and accomplish the things that you did, that speaks to something that's going to be on the shirt that we give to you in just a minute. How many of you are seniors, are just graduating? Okay, put your hand down. Oh, you're pointing. I just wanted to make sure that we kept as many as we could, because we really want that character that you've demonstrated to be pervasive throughout the rest of the school. Would love for you to say a word. Coach, I bet that you have something to say, and then the other coaches, and then perhaps our participants can say maybe how special this was, or what this meant to you, if you want to. I know that Jenna will, but the Colonel. Coach?
Yes, sir, just from right here.
Yes.
If you would, into the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you.
There we go. Yes, sir. This was just really a phenomenal season. Like Mr. Sales said, it was unprecedented. You know, I think a lot of our success just stemmed from the fact that our girls were willing to see this season through. That was not the case everywhere in North Carolina, with the fact that, you know, especially the girls that were graduated for 3 or 4 weeks before the state championship meet hadn't happened, and knowing that going into the season, a lot of kids in other places just didn't run. But our girls knew that they had the opportunity to do something special this year, and they stuck together. You know, we called Jenna the Colonel. You know, she really was the glue, I think, that held this thing together for us. And it was for me as a coach, I'd never seen a team do what our ladies were able to do down there at the state tournament. We took 14 girls down, and every single girl scored. And that just doesn't happen, you know, especially at that level. You know, some of the girls scored in 3 and 4 events, and so it was truly a team effort. It wasn't the fact that we had 1 or 2 individuals who just dominated their specialty, but they we scored across the board: relays, distance, sprints, hurdles, vaulting, throwing. And it was really an amazing experience to be around these kids. And I also would like to thank the administration and you, the school board, for allowing us the opportunity to put together the staff that we have to coach these ladies. Because if you've been involved in track and field, every discipline in track and field is very unique and different. And it takes specialized workouts and specialized practices And we were able to put coaches in place in every area to give these ladies quality instruction on a daily basis. And I think you saw the fruits of being able to do that this season. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to do that.
Anybody else? Track members, somebody tell us what, I know this is difficult for you to speak in public, but yeah, nose goes. Did you see that? Nose goes. Right. Somebody tell us what this meant to you and maybe what were some highlights from this year for you?
I already answered that. Restate it.
Why don't you restate it?
Yeah.
Because I don't know that everybody watches the video all the time. So, Jenna, Sheriff, if you'd go up to the microphone, some highlights, what did it mean to you?
So originally I wasn't even going to do track this year just because it went after graduation, and I was like, do I really want to do that? But they didn't leave me alone. So eventually I gave in, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Yeah, politely. So this season was definitely one to remember. I couldn't think of a better way to end my career as a Lady Devil, and it's something I'm going to remember forever. Specifically, I remember them announcing us after we won. They're like, the Lady Devils are your 1A state champs. And so that's something that'll always be in my head. And thank you guys for everything you've done to make it happen.
Thank you, Jenna. Anybody else?
Well, just for who's here tonight, we have Kirsten Smith, who was on our 4x1 and 4x200 relays. Raya Dingle, who was triple jump, and Raya was an interesting story this year. Raya finished 4th in conference. She was 4th in our conference, and then we went to regionals, and she made a jump, and she was 4th at regionals. So she was 4th coming out of the Western region, and then we got to state, and she went another jump, and she was 4th at state. So that was really neat to see her be able to do that this year, really finish out her career in that way. And Jenna was the part of 3 of the relays, 4x1, 4x2, and 4x4. Then Amelia Rogers was a state champion in pole vault.
Ian, it's possible that our board doesn't know all of the coaches,
Yep.
at least by face. Would you introduce them as well?
Sure. This is Landon Hunt. We were able to bring Landon on this year. He was a vaulter at Swain, at least freshman, sophomore year, and was the state record holder in pole vault for, about 10 years? 9 years until it was broken last year. My kid from Polk County, and Landon came on this year. Has just done great things. We were a state champion in pole vault, and Amelia, state champion in pole vault, and Matthew Gray, and both of them are actually qualified and going to compete in the Junior Olympics here end of next week in pole vault, and so I've done great things there. Anna Gray also qualified in pole vault and finished 6th in the state. This is Keith Payne. Keith came on with us, and it's just been superb. He has a wealth of track knowledge and experience, and can absolutely fill in any discipline out there, and be awesome. And then Jen Chatham. Jen's been doing the distance as long as I've been doing track, so does a great job with those girls and guys.
Well, again, we want to say thank you to each of you. And on the front bench here, there are 4 sizes of T-shirts, so you can pick the size that you want. And on the front of the T-shirt, it says "Character Counts." And you have shown us what character is this year, and we appreciate that so much. So, unless the board has something that you want to say to them, or if you want to shake their hand, or
Yeah, I just want to say that, this year's the first year that I actually had a kid involved in track, and, I was very impressed with the coaches. Every track meet you go to, it's almost like our coaches are running the track meet, no matter where it's at. So that speaks volumes. Y'all have done a great job. And I also think that this starts at the middle school. I know our middle school track's done well, got great coaches there also. So, the thing is, once they get these kids out, they buy in pretty quick, and they're hooked. I mean, my kid was one of them. I didn't think he was going to make it, and now he's talking about next year. So,
That's awesome.
we appreciate that. And I know I've heard stories that at times maybe y'all have had to share uniforms, and I just want to say we need to get these kids some uniforms, I think, for next year, if we can. I just think it'd be a good idea. If we don't have a track, let's get some good uniforms. But I appreciate everything you guys have done, the coaches and the participants, the athletes. Y'all have done a great job. It's been impressive to watch, for sure.
I'd like to say it's a phenomenal job, considering this may be the first team in the state of North Carolina that's won a state championship without a track at home. You know, and I would apologize for it. We're trying now, and we are determined to get you a track. And it's gonna be a quality track, a nice track. We can't do the one we've got because it's just too small. It's not big enough, they won't come here anymore, right?
Yes, sir.
But that is on our plans. If we can ever find the money, it's hard to raise several million dollars. But we've got the space, and we're starting some things this fall, hopefully with that space to just make it, at least show the community we're starting something. But we are committed to that and going to continue to work for that. And I'm so proud of you. I'm Maroon through and through. And I'm proud of everything you do. And it's just amazing what y'all accomplish without the facilities that you deserve. And I appreciate it, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. It's what a great honor to be state champions. It's the whole team, so that's amazing, as well as the individual state champions. So thank you all. Thank you, coaches, for all you do.
Thank you.
Certainly. The character counts. It obviously counted for you and what you were trying to do and what you were able to accomplish. But also know that this is probably a little bit of doom and gloom, but not necessarily, as the trials and tribulations in your life are only going to get harder and they're going to continue. So remember that character counts and the effort that you put forth in track, and remember that in every adversity and every adverse circumstances you're going to face throughout your life, because that kind of character is going to keep repeating itself, and as long as you keep using that character, you're going to be successful.
Job well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I will mention the two coaches that aren't here. Bruce Roth, who came on several years ago with us working with our hurdlers. We had Monica Reardon, who won the 100 hurdles, and Jesse Lohman, who won the 300 hurdles. And Bruce is in New York, so he wasn't able to be here this evening. And then Colby Hyatt, who does our sprinters and our sprint relays, and he's out of town this week too. But they're integral in what we do.
So I understand, Ian, that there's going to be a ceremony with some rings at some point, and there
Yes, sir.
may be the need to raise some money for that. So let's shamelessly promote that right now.
Yes, sir. We're actually we're having a track get together on Thursday, and we're going to size the girls for the rings. And we do buy rings for every girl who finished the season with the team, not just the ones that actually competed at the state meet. I think that would be the norm in any sport. Every kid on the basketball team, if they win a state title, they're going to get a ring, and we're going to do right by our girls too. And so we've got 27 girls on the team, plus Matthew Gray, who won individually, and then we had 3 girls: Amelia, Monica, Jessie. I guess that's it, those 3 girls that won individually. And so we're looking at purchasing about 35 rings for them, and we're taking up donations to do that now. We've had several people step up and contribute, and I'd say we're probably about a quarter of the way to where we need to be. But if someone did want to contribute, then they just need to make a check out at Swain County High School with championship rings in the memo line, and they can drop that by the high school front office.
Rings are running right about $400 a piece.
We're looking to get $300 per athlete, and that'll allow us to do their ring plus a T-shirt and sweatshirt.
Okay.
So.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen, ladies? Thank you again so much. We're so proud, and thank you for representing. Grab yourself a shirt that fits the size that you are, not the size that you'll be. And a water bottle. And coaches, that's true for you too.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't have no relevance time. I was working on something at the house, and Lynn called for me and said, Mr. Sells calling. I said, oh yeah, I know why he's calling. Let me get my shirt back on.
I thought maybe you were still at work.
Well, I was working,
We thought he
but
fell
not,
asleep.
yeah. You thought I was still in that truck? That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
All right, next I would entertain a motion,
I got it from
if you would, it's on there for a closed session.
I move the Swain County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of discussing information that's privileged, confidential, or not a public record under General Statute of North Carolina 143-318.11A1.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, let's raise a hand. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
This right here? No, this.
All right, let's call the meeting back to order. Mr. Superintendent, if you would, let's start with discussion.
I have given to each of you a copy of the new attendance policy 4400. We spoke about this just a little bit at the last meeting, and I asked for you to look at it. The lines that are in red are actually coming from the North Carolina School Board Association. I don't know that those are a lot of changes, but there are some that are different than the policy we have on the books now. The words that are in blue come from us. I have gone over this policy with our principals, and we've discussed the whole thing, and we are in agreement that the way that this policy reads right now is very workable. I'll draw your attention to the second page. There is a yellow highlighted line. We changed that from the last time to clarify that 5 days can be excused by parent note. All right? And that means if a student misses 5 days, cumulative all in a row, and a parent writes a note for that, then they're excused. Or if a student misses 5 days and they're not necessarily consecutive, the parent can still write notes for those 5 days. It's cumulative for all of them. Does that make sense to you? And the reason that we're being very strict on that, or it feels strict, is because we know that there comes a point when student attendance creates so much missed information and opportunity that they fall behind and they can't catch up. And that's what we're seeing. We know for a fact from the Georgia Department of Public Instruction, they've done research on this, that if an 8th grade student misses now listen to this is amazing, 1 to 5 days, just 1 to 5 days, 80% of the students graduate having missed that number of days. 20% don't graduate. Did you get that? That's stunning. If a student misses 6 to 10, 28% don't graduate in the 8th grade. If they miss 15 days or more, excused or not, their statistics, their data says that only 38% graduate, 62% don't, if they miss that in the 8th grade. That's stunning, isn't it? And that's how come we're becoming really concerned with attendance. Now, I think it's very, very important for us, though, to look at the regulations that come after that. Now, administrative regulations are not policy, they're how you run the policy. And it should be right at the back of that information. We sat down as an administrative group and worked through all of the different parts that we believe need to be in place so the public is well informed and we are supporting our students effectively to help them be successful. And if you will look, please, at the second page where it says under Section G, chronic absenteeism, you see where it has process for addressing absenteeism? Every student will be afforded this support to make sure that the parents and the students and the schools are working together to get the child to school. And that includes mountain mediation, and it also includes a truancy council. And we've been doing that at the middle school for quite a while, and it is effective. It's making a difference, okay? There are also instructions underneath that where it says drafts on how to handle late arrivals and early dismissals. We call them tardies and early outs, all right? Because that can affect attendance or can affect instructional attainment just as much as anything. And each of the principals have designed that for their school. That came from them. So I would ask that, again, you look carefully at all of this information between now and the next meeting and count this as our first reading for the policy. And then let's come back in August, and if changes need to be made, let's make them. My intent is to send all of this to Chris Campbell and to make sure that we're on track as far as legalities are concerned. Okay? Thoughts?
Real
I did.
quick, oh, sorry, Gary. Real quick, as a point of order, did we ever approve the agenda?
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we did that.
I think, didn't
We did, because we adjusted,
we? We adjusted it.
I think we did.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't, because we went right into executive session.
I thought we approved it at the very beginning.
Now, come to think of it, you're right, because I think we voted on going into executive session.
Okay, so now that we're out of order, maybe we better stop and approve the agenda, don't you think?
Yes.
Let's do that. All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All right, all in favor by show of hands? Now, let's proceed. And I was gonna mention on that, that it might be important to note on number one on the 5th page, that there's no penalties if you have chronic
No.
absences based on a health problem that's documented. So a kid that legitimately has issues with getting to school every day,
Yes.
they're gonna work with them. So that covers anything that's legit like that.
There will be, at that point, there will be a standing note from a
Right.
physician or a medical provider of some sort that will help us cover that. And that could also be a mental health issue.
Right.
I would encourage you all to look at what the excused attendance excuses are, because they may be a little more broad than they used to be. That's on page number 2. There are some things that are listed there that in the past we have not been able to count as a legitimate excuse, and according to the state now we can.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts? You ready to move on, Mr.
I think
Mr.
so.
McKinney?
No questions.
You also should have a yellow folder, and that yellow folder has a number of policies. I would encourage you, if you want to read those policies, to scour them, because it's a good time for us to see what they say. But I also want you to know that most of the changes in those policies are clerical. They're editing, things like that. And this is the second group that came from North Carolina School Board Association about a month or 2 months ago, and I told you I'd bring them later. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about them tonight. Please go look at them, and again, it's a good idea to read them because you'll learn them. But I'll come back to you next week for the second reading, and if you have thoughts or adjustments, then we can make them then. Okay?
Fine.
All right. We had a facilities study meeting last Friday. Mr. McKinney was there and Mr. Carson were there, and I have provided you the notes from Novus on those. Mr. McKinney or Mr. Carson, do either of you want to make any comments about these notes or anything that was discussed at that meeting?
Nope, I didn't even see the. No, I thought, I was real pleased with it. We're gonna look at a lot of the aspects of the school and what we need and what our facilities look like, and give us something to start planning with.
Yeah, I think it'll be a big help to us to be informed about maybe some good things and bad things that we've got on our campuses, that things that need to be addressed, and then we can bring to order an order of solutions, like what takes precedence over this, or we can get a schedule and we will be in the know about what's going on as far as our schools are concerned.
They're going to look at everything from our equipment to our roof ages, to the capacity that we have in some of our schools and whether or not we need to think about that. And I know that we just finished 2 additions, one at east and one at west, but there's the potential that there could be some building going on out towards east, which will affect enrollment eventually at the middle school, and we need to think about that. But I would encourage you to look at these notes, and if there's anything that you feel like we've missed, it's a phone call to get them to put that on there. I'm pretty impressed with what this group is bringing to us so far, and they're supposed to bring us a fees list at the end of this week, and I'll share that with all of you. Okay?
In that line, I'd still like for one day, maybe when we get time, we'll probably announce it before all together, but we can go look at some of the land that we've got that y'all have not been over. I think it'd be good for you to see that and see what possibilities we've got. And I know we've talked about this other little pot of money we may get from the sale of this land. We can use up there to start cleaning that off on top of that mountain to get an idea of what we're dealing with as far as the track, get us a better view of what needs to be done, and get that, at least in the framework of this, for the community, show them that we really need the resources to get this done and get it done quickly.
And that's in this, this facility study also, because they look at the land that school systems have and then help plan the use of that effectively based on 5, 10, 15, and even 50 years out. So I think that'll be valuable for all of us. Okay? Again, if you have things that you would like for us to think about and look at in that, please let me know. Okay? Anything else on that? Mr. McKinney, that's all of the discussion.
All right? Let's go straight into action.
So I recommend that the Swain County Board of Education approve the minutes of the June 8th, 2021 open session meeting, the June 8th, 2021 closed session, and the June 29, 2021 special called meeting. You should have all of those minutes with you.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
In personnel, I recommend that the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Breanne Bramlett as teacher at Swain West Elementary effective June 30th, 2021.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Cameron Baines as custodian at Swain High School effective July 22nd, 2021. Cameron's going back to school to finish his mechatronics program.
So
All right.
moved.
Got a motion and a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Julie Bennett as reading assistant at Swain West Elementary effective August 9, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
Strike number 4, that young lady has decided not to take the job. Number 5, I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Kelly Walls as a reading assistant at Swain East Elementary effective August 9, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Barbara Sneed as CTE Director effective August 1st, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? So carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Vicki Bailey as after-school dance instructor effective August 9, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Driver Blythe as boys assistant soccer coach effective August 9, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Derek Ledford as Indian education tutor at Swain High School effective August 9, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ the following for summer camp programs: Dennis Jones and Michael Turner.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Evan Clapsaddle as Federal Programs Coordinator effective August 1st, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I have two to add. I recommend that the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Caitlin Quinnett as the Parents as Teacher Coordinator effective July 19th, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
And since Evan is going to be moving into federal programs August 1st, I feel that it's important that we go ahead and we fill that seat, and we have someone who has already interviewed and is very capable. So I would recommend that the Swain County Board of Education employ Amanda Sutton as the principal at Swain East Elementary effective August 1st, 2021.
Okay,
Motion.
Second.
all right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
That's all of the personnel. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Mr. McKinney, there are some important dates. Obviously, we've gone through some holidays. The teachers come back to work on August the 9th. We are planning to have a convocation of all of our staff on August the 10th, beginning at 8:30 that morning, and would invite all of you to be there. Now, that's contingent upon what happens with Governor Cooper and the Department of Health and Human Services, because right now we are still functioning under an executive order that doesn't prohibit but discourages mass gatherings. And so if that is not lifted or amended by that point, we're probably going to have to do that by Zoom or broadcast or something. I don't know exactly what that would look like. There are some things about the opening of school that are still, that may change between now and then. I spoke with Allison Cochran about that this morning, and we are still operating under the same set of mandates and instructions that were in place at the beginning of July. Students are still wearing masks and all kinds of different pieces. She doesn't know when anything is going to change. I don't know when anything is going to change, but I suspect that DHHS and the governor are going to have to make a statement before the beginning of the month. That may require that we come back together as a board and address some of those issues. I don't know. So we just need to continue to do what I said last time. Just hang on and let's see what's happening. There is talk in the community right now about masks and vaccinations, and everyone needs to understand that we're just waiting, and as soon as we know something, we'll move forward, okay? Speaking of vaccinations, there was a vaccination clinic at the high school today. There were 72 people who signed up. 66 of them were students, and they served every one of them. We're also going to schedule another vaccination clinic the week of when the teachers come back, to make sure that if there are any other students, 12-year-olds and up, that want to be vaccinated, they can, and then they will get their second shot the Friday before Labor Day, which will give them an opportunity to recover from that. All those who had the first shot today will be able to get their second shot before school begins. That way we won't impact their attendance. But I was thrilled with that number today.
That is good.
Summer camp's going on. Kindergarten Academy starts next Monday. I don't know how many students are going to be there. That's going to last for 2 weeks, though. Your next regular board meeting is August the 16th. We need to schedule that, please, for 5:30. Is 5:30 too early for you? Anyone?
Maybe for me.
Okay. We'll call you at 5.
Yeah, call me at 5.
Okay. And the reason I want to schedule it at 5:30 is we are going to provide each of you with a digital device that will be large enough for all of our old eyes to read, so that whenever we're sending information to you, it can come to you on a school computer, and then you can take that with you and use it. Okay? And then you can bring it here with you if you want to, and we can save some of these paper pieces. All right, if you like paper, I'll be happy to print, but we went through 200 prints today getting ready for this, okay? We just want to
Does
bring
that
it up
come
to
with
date.
training?
Yes, and that's why we're gonna meet at 5:30. You get a 30-minute crash course on how to use that cuss.
Can I bring my granddaughter with me so she can guide me through it?
Absolutely.
She does anyway, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The last thing is, we're going to make some transfers. Jennifer Hill is going to transfer from a teacher assistant to a regular ed teacher at Bright Adventures. Amy Harrison is going to transfer from a behavior assistant, I believe she's been at East, to a regular teacher assistant there. Pam Cunningham, who has been at West Elementary as an EC teacher assistant for a long time, is going to be moving to the middle school as an EC assistant. Chloe Reagan, who has been at the middle school and helped us with our virtual instruction last year when we were doing so much Plan C. She's going to take a position as a regular ed teacher assistant at Swain East. And Ramius Smith is going to move from JVs to varsity as football coach. And we've got some more work to do there. And Steve Jameson, it's not on your list there, but Steve Jameson is going to transfer from East to the middle school, and I believe he's going to become the media assistant there. Lateral transfers. Okay? Yes, it is. He's been working with us as a teacher assistant probably since the spring, right? Okay? Yes. Did I miss anything, Mr. Dills? Joanne, have I missed anything?
So, Mr. Sale, I understand that the social workers are going back to full-time next year.
That is our intent, yes, sir.
I think it's,
Good.
with the emotional, with the needs of the children great right now. I think that's a good idea. Hopefully we continue to do that.
We'll be working, I'm gonna be working with Stephanie tomorrow on the ESSER funding and some updates on that, and that's one of the pieces that we're gonna do our best to put in. Especially with the attendance pieces that we're looking at,
Right.
because that's gonna be more extensive than in the past. It's gonna take all of them and our deans of students to help pull all that off.
Right.
I'm assuming, and you hate to assume, but, we had talked about having an open house at the high school and even in the new building. With that governor's orders, we're going to wait till that be lifted,
We have them on the calendar, and they are scheduled, I'm afraid to give you dates right now, but I think that they're scheduled the week the students are supposed to come back. But the answer to your statement is absolutely. We need to wait until we can make sure we can do that.
Right.
Now, we've thought about having an open house for that performance facility the night of a JV football game, since we'll be using it already anyhow. But we need to look into all of the regulations and expectations on that. The signs have been ordered for those. They're in construction, and we'll have those up for all of our donors.
Good.
And then we'll schedule something for the high school. We need to have a dedication of some sort.
Have we got that seal yet?
That's being worked on right now,
Good.
just like we said it would.
Good, good.
And Toby has suggested that maybe we have a private opportunity for the council to come and to walk through that facility themselves.
That's a great idea. They have been so good to us with track and all the facilities that they've let us use. Made a big difference in our kids.
We'll work towards that.
And one thing I hope we can do, one thing I really miss, I consistently run in or find introduced to somebody, and they're a teacher in one of our schools. And it's the first time I've ever seen them. And, we used to tour the schools, and I miss that so much. And I know we couldn't, but I really miss that because I love seeing what these schools are doing and see what these classrooms are doing. It makes you feel like you're doing something worthwhile coming to these meetings when we get here on time. But
Yeah, really. Well, I've been fine.
But no, I do miss that. I think, and I think our new members would love seeing that too, because it just makes you feel good knowing what's going on and what a good system we have. And,
I don't see why, Mr. McKinney, that we can't go ahead and schedule walkthroughs. You just have to wear a
I
mask.
know we couldn't last year because
We can now, because we're going to, unless something changes drastically, we're still going to be on Plan A.
all of y'all would like
If
that.
we just wear a mask and we'll schedule them on a Friday or whatever day is best for y'all. And I promise you, if we schedule one for Bright Adventures, I know somebody that'll be on time.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I was gonna give a quick update on the road too.
Please do, and I should have brought that map with me, I'm sorry.
We did choose a design, and we're gonna be able to miss the old ag building at the bottom of the road. The batting cages, we're gonna be able to miss those. The only thing we have to move, and Dills and one of his other employees are gonna move that single-handedly, is the greenhouse. But everything's a go for it. It's gonna be in the design process this fall with a tentative schedule to start in the spring. And we may phase it and do the bottom section through the grass field beside the batting cage, parallel to it. And then as soon as spring sports is over, start at the top of the hill and come down to the bottom of the hill essentially. We'll be removing the bathrooms and the concession stand with with a new set of bathrooms and concession stand, however we decide to do that. I think we're gonna collaborate with the coaches and then get with Mr. Edding on constructing it or a design or, whatever needs to be done there. But we're moving right along with it. And as soon as it goes through the design process, we'll put it out to bid. And of course, award it to the lowest bid. And I think what did we get? About $1.5 million to do that?
1.6.
1.6. So I think we'll be excellent on that. I think no longer than, I think we estimated 5 to 6 months for completion. And it could possibly, depending on who the contractor is, could possibly be quicker than that and weather and everything else. But that was a good thing, and it'll be a good thing to have at the high school for sure.
We have to move no utilities.
Yeah.
Great.
We've dodged every pole and every water line.
Yeah.
And the drain pipe that's underneath there, Zach and his minion walked up in it and said that it's in good shape, it won't have to be replaced. So that's a win too. We also met with MSTA last week and looked at a traffic redesign at West Elementary that we are going to partially put into effect this year and then fully put into effect as soon as they can do some redesign for us. That should take our traffic off the interstate and pull them onto the campus, which has been a real concern.
Parent pickup, yeah.
Good. We cry a lot about, and whine, I'm probably the worst about getting facilities done. But we really there've been a lot of things going on, and we're in really good shape at the high school in some places, so we can focus our attention on the areas that we have still to work on. It'll come, we'll just keep working at it. Thank you. Anybody got anything else? We'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, stand up and leave.
I need to stay for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, you got makeup time.
No,